Hey folks, today I wanted to talk a little bit about why I kid in March, or what the answer really is why do I try to align the nutrient requirements of the animal with the nutrient requirements of the pasture. And when I say the animal, I'm kind of referring to like the herd as a whole. When we kid in March, those animals already start off with a fairly high nutrient requirement in quality and quantity. Those are late gestation, early lactation does. And it only goes up from there. As they kid, as they're lactating more, as the kids themselves are growing and starting to eat their own feed other than mother's milk, and it keeps going up and it keeps going up and it keeps going up, and it basically drops off at weaning. And that's when we artificially wean here, so we do have like a pretty steep drop off at one point. When you look at the nutrient availability for pasture, if you look at that same time of year, it follows a similar gradient. Now, not in March so much. There's not enough feed on the ground yet to really meet the quality guidelines, but you are starting to see some growth. Once you get into April, it starts to pick up more. You're starting to get some moisture usually. It's starting to warm up more. Those cool season plants are able to metabolize and grow a lot better. May does really goes up. June keeps going up, and then it does start to fall off. Pretty much peaked maybe like a week ago, I would guess. And now it is starting to fall off a little bit as we get those warmer temperatures. Those cool season plants that are more nutritious don't grow as well anymore. The warm season plants that are taking over, again, aren't as nutritious. They also aren't as fast growing. In general, there aren't just total feed volume wise, there isn't as much of them. The other thing is, as it gets hotter out, the animals don't grow as well. Their nutrient requirements actually go up even more. And even then you can't get as much out of them because they just aren't going to eat as much. The other thing is, as it gets hotter out, your rains don't go as far. If it's in the middle of August and you got 100-degree days, which is normal for here, and you get a 1/4 inch of rain in the morning, you're probably not actually going to get much of that moisture. The plants aren't going to see a whole lot of that moisture. If it's going to be 100 degrees in the afternoon, most of it's going to burn off before it gets absorbed or utilized or metabolized or anything. So that's a big part of that. That nutrient gradient follows that same kind of path. It doesn't drop off as steeply because you don't have weaning, but it does follow a similar pattern. And we want to try to align those two. If you're wondering what this gap here in March is about, we do kid in dry lots unsupervised. They are on hay during that period. And then typically early April is when we're kicking out. We do try to kick out when these two lines intersect right here. So that's the basic idea. That's why I kid in March, and that's why I try to align these two nutrient gradients, both requirements and availability. Speaking in very broad terms here, I'm not trying to get into TDN or percent crude protein or this or that or the other thing. Really just trying to talk about big picture concepts as far as how you run your operation. Yes, we could talk about seasonal market trends and how the prices aren't as strong in late June or early July when I typically wean as they are. If I was able to wean earlier. Those are very seasonal and somewhat predictable with goats. Maybe I'll make another video about that sometime. What I am talking about right now is just lining up, why I kid in March, and that is to line up those two lines.